From the unexplained to the mundane, join us on our journey to the fringe. Hello and welcome to Journey to the Fringe, where, Chelsea, I had this philosophical thing I was thinking of, something along the lines of where you can't spell Journey to the Fringe without AI, but we don't actually I don't think we use that much AI in our podcast. And also, there's no A's, and there's only one I in Journey to the Fringe. And if you omitted that I, people would still probably be like, oh yeah, Journey to the Fringe.
Yeah, it's true. It could be omitted.
What else would it be?
That's the thing about
with
her
that
I.
I missing. So you probably can't spell it without AI. Anyhow, we're your deep thinking podcast hosts, Taylor and Chelsea, getting into the spooky season, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're doing, because Chelsea's kind of been left with some direction, kind of. So I'll let her take it.
I love this season, and of course I'm already in the spirit. Well, it's October 1st, maybe. What's the date today?
We get into the spirits heavy here.
It's October 3rd.
Usually,
Yeah, we're heavy into the spirits. So we've all heard of the Salem witch trials. How much we know about it is questionable, but at least heard about it. That is not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about the witch trials and witch trials adjacent that you haven't heard of. And I'm going to give you those details now. First up is the Pendle witches. This is going back to 1612 England, which the Pendle witch trials are one of the most notorious witch trials in the UK, apparently. Not to me anyway, but apparently to someone, because that's what I heard in my research. It's one of the most notorious. Much of what is known about the Pendle witch trials comes from the book The Wonderful Discovery by this guy called Thomas Potts, who was the clerk to the Lancaster Assizes.
That's not the guy from the Ouija board, is it?
No,
that's Zaza. Never mind.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Before you ask what the word is that I can't pronounce is, the Lancaster Assizes were part of the Old English court system. Assizes were traveling courts, and instead of everyone traveling to London for trials, judges from the royal courts would travel around the country to hold court sessions in different towns. They mainly dealt with serious crimes like murder, treason, and robbery, and actually became known as the hanging court because, they're dealing with probably...
They couldn't come to a decision, probably because they couldn't get a decision, right? They always ended up with a hung jury.
Very doubtful. It's probably more that they were hanging people when they're dealing with things like murder, treason, and robbery back in the 1612s. Am I right?
Yeah. Or the high-profile cases, I'm guessing, like a witch in the area.
Yeah. See? You get it.
Yeah.
So the Lancaster Assizes, I don't know how to pronounce this word, were the sessions...
Spell this word.
A-S-S. I said yes.
S sizes. Okay. It's a size.
What?
I googled it, and the first thing, the definition and a way to say
it's
it.
S size.
A size.
That's how you say it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was way off.
So you know.
Okay. I was trying to pronounce too much of the letters in there. So, Potts was instructed to write the account of the Pendle witches trial by the trial judges, completing it by November 1612. While it was revised by Judge Bromley before publication in 1613, the book is not a verbatim transcript of the trial, but just vibes or reflection of the events, as they put it.
It's kind of like the people who would sketch in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And it's never like a picture perfect, we're going to hang these in art gallery. But they give you a general idea of what the guy
Do you think those guys are going off vibes?
Yeah, they are.
Although not entirely comprehensive, Potts's account is considered generally trustworthy, provided readers understand it is based on written material rather than direct testimony. Okay, so more about the Pendle witch trials. They took place in 1612 in a religious and politically turbulent England. We got to set the scene, where fear of witchcraft was rising due to Protestant and Catholic tensions. The reign of King James I, influenced by his obsession with witchcraft, fueled by his experiences in Scotland. I'm not sure what those were, but it might have something to do with the witchcraft. saw a strict stance on witches, marked by his book Demonology and Laws Against Witchcraft. And when I saw the way that he spells this demonology, it kind of reminds me of Aleister Crowley with how he spelled daemons, whatever it was.
And a quick Google, King James I of England is James VI of Scotland, who is Mary Queen of Scots' kid.
Oh, that would explain a lot for what happens in this episode.
Okay.
Huh. Okay, I'm glad you just came up with that. Thank you. It really enlightened me, at least.
Also, apparently the first Stuarts, which I think is... No, they're the Windsors, aren't they? The current family.
What are you talking about?
The lines that they technically all
Who's Stuart?
flow through. That's the Stuart dynasty. Is King James starts the Stuart dynasty. I don't know, because, like, King Charles is part of the Windsor dynasty.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay.
I don't know. For people who talk vaguely about royals, mostly just gossip about them.
They do. It's mostly gossip.
We know very little about it. That's why we're so good at it, because we know nothing about them.
In Lancashire, where the trials occurred, the people had long resisted religious conformity, with many clinging to Catholicism despite the Protestant rule. The cultural and religious landscape set the stage for the Pendle trials, as local authorities were eager to uncover witchcraft in an area already seen as wild and lawless. The trials were triggered by a series of events in early 1612, beginning with the accusation that Alison Device had cursed a peddler, John Law, causing him to suffer a stroke. This led to an investigation by Roger Nowell, a local justice of the peace, who uncovered confessions from several members of two families, the Devices and the Chaddixes.
Their last name was Devices?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could be way off on how I'm pronouncing this.
It just seems really weird.
Yeah. It could be, this is like back in the 1612, so it could be like Divises or something.
It could be a VCR. Yeah. Those things are sold now. Anyhow.
The families had a long history of being suspected of witchcraft, with the elderly matriarchs Demdike and Chaddix.
The local community's been waiting generations for their opportunity to bring a trial against this family for witchcraft.
It sounds like it. It's been there for a while. But both were accused of making pacts with the devil. In my experience, not such a bad guy. I think there might have been a lot of overreaction, but that's just me, in my experience. The subsequent investigations uncovered accusations and counter-accusations between the two families, with the Devices blaming Chaddix for a string of deaths and misfortunes, while Chaddix and her family retaliated with accusations against the Devices. This was more likely due to competition over resources like healing and baking. Eventually, the families were implicated in the deaths of several local people, leading to the arrest of 14 individuals. My notes are vague. You may need to just read this book if you want to know why they were implicated in the deaths of several local people. For now, we'll just leave it at that.
It sounds like several families within the community have the equivalent of the pin and red yarn corkboard connecting everything to these families.
Yes.
In the community.
Yeah, the whodunit map.
Yeah, that's how I'm assuming this happened.
It was either the Devices,
the equivalent of the 1612.
And you might be on either side, like you just fucking hate one of them. Maybe you like the other. Yeah. Maybe you're impartial to the other, but there's one that you just hate and everything's their fault. I think that's the vibes we're getting. At the trials, which took place in Lancaster in York in the summer of 1612, the accused were charged with causing harm through witchcraft, including the deaths of 10 people. The trials were notorious for the testimony of a young girl, Jeanette Device, who acted as a key witness for the prosecution despite her age. She testified against her own family, possibly under pressure from the magistrate Roger Nowell, which helped secure convictions, though some of the accused, such as Alice Gray, were found not guilty. In total, 10 of the Pendle witches were found guilty and hung, while one died in prison and another was acquitted.
Sorry, how old was she?
Young.
Because all I heard was young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Despite her age.
Okay.
So, young, probably.
You're saying she's young at the time, the 1600s, like, I think you're an adult, 13 or 14.
Yeah, so probably
so
very young.
Really...
Yeah. The Pendle witch trials of 1612 were part of a larger pattern of witch hunts in England, but were notably severe, with the trials accounting for over 2% of the total witch executions during this period.
Wow.
Yeah. These events also reflect how accusations of witchcraft could be driven by economic and social factors, with some individuals individuals using witchcraft as a way to gain power or income in a time of widespread superstition and religious tensions. Next up is the Würzburg and Bamberg witch trials. This is back to 1620s Germany. Mass executions in Europe's witch hunting peak. The Würzburg witch trials, which took place between 1625 and 1631 in the Catholic Prince-Bishopric of Würzburg in the Holy Roman Empire, were amongst the largest and deadliest mass witch hunts in history. These trials resulted in the execution of hundreds of people, including men, women, and children from all social classes. The trials were deeply influenced by the ongoing 30 Years' War and the Catholic Counter-Reformation, as Prince Bishop Philip Adolf von Ehrenberg sought to solidify Catholicism. It was a mouthful.
But he has like every bad name in German.
It's true. Prince Bishop Philip Adolf von Ehrenberg. Okay. It could be worse, but it's not great. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's a von in there, so I think that's good. Sought to solidify Catholicism in a region straddling Protestant and Catholic territories. It is estimated that around 900 people were executed in the Prince Bishopric, with 157 confirmed executions in the city of Würzburg itself. I think that's a lot.
It's Würzburg, right?
Würzburg, yeah.
Okay, is the war on the witches?
What?
It's got to be.
What? Würzburg.
Oh, okay.
Is that war in German?
War. I don't know. Maybe.
U with a weird accent dot on top.
Oh, okay.
R.
Würzburg.
Yeah. You would know.
It might be war. Who knows?
The trials were initiated under the influence of the Counter-Reformation zeal of Bishop Philip Adolf von Ehrenberg, who aimed to eliminate perceived threats to Catholic orthodoxy, including witchcraft. A witch commission was established which employed brutal methods, including torture, to extract confessions. The accused were often forced to name others, leading to a rapid expansion of the trials, which began with ordinary citizens and escalated to include members of the clergy and even children. Those accused were charged with a range of offenses, from murder to engaging in satanic rituals, and were executed by burning, often after being tortured. This is insane.
Yeah, it really is.
1600s, you don't want to be there. If you're ever time traveling, don't do it. Probably go for maybe
no.
Not forward, maybe a little back. I'd probably go back to like the 80s or 90s or something. That seems like a good time.
Depending on your skin color, you got very different eras you can go to, but like Europe during that time for anybody's pretty terrible.
Yeah. I'd probably just do the 80s if it were me to play it safe. That was a pretty good time. I was there just for the end, but it was decent. Maybe early 90s seems okay. Yeah.
Just an aside before we get back to it, apparently witch in German is Hexe.
Oh, I like that.
Which I'm curious if that's where we get hex from.
It very well could be. Seems about right. I'm going to go with yes. The trials were characterized by widespread fear and accusation, sounds like it, with entire communities suspecting 1/3 of the population of the witchcraft. I wonder if anybody is thinking about the devices over here, if they're that renowned. Do you think? Maybe
Somebody's
not.
got their own court.
Yeah. Somebody like went over there.
Germany.
Yeah, and they're just like, you ever hear about the devices? Fucking bunch of sons of bitches. Yeah, they're witches.
Terrible.
Witches, all of them. Many high-profile victims were involved, including priests, children, and nobles, which led to some of the executions becoming infamous. The public nature of the trials, with brutal executions taking place in the city, attracted widespread attention. I mean, sounds like it. Hear what's going on in Würzburg? They're freaking witches accusing everybody. Stay the fuck out of Würzburg.
There's either witches or you're dead.
Yeah. In 1629, a letter from a counselor described the growing fear and constant arrests, with hundreds of people, including many prominent figures, being accused and executed. The trials reached a crescendo in 1629 when an estimated 157 people were executed in Würzburg, with many more dying in surrounding areas. The trials eventually ended in 1631 after public condemnation, particularly from the Holy Roman Emperor, and complaints from the influential families of the victims. The Prince Bishop's death in 1631 and the occupation of Würzburg by Swedish forces under Gustavus Adolphus marked the end of the persecution. Despite the horrific loss of life, the Würzburg witch trials had a lasting legacy, influencing witch trials in other regions, particularly in Germany. I find this This one's so crazy just because people were being tortured and they're literally giving anybody's name. And I don't know why. I guess when you're being tortured, like, you're not just going down alone. They're like really pressing you for like, who are you in this with? And they're not taking no, I'm not a witch as an answer. They need to know like who's in this with you.
They torture you harder when you say that.
Yeah. So I guess you're just like, the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Probably.
I find it pretty notable that the Pope had to step in and say, whoa, guys, you're a little too violent here.
And at that time, the Pope, like, I just saw a thing about how the Pope had his own executioner for a while. That was probably around this time.
Yeah, I mean, they are, what do you call it when they go on their trips to the Holy Land?
What are you going to say?
What do they call those?
What do they do there?
When the knights go to Jerusalem and they take it for Christianity. What do they call those?
The parting the Red Sea.
No.
Right? The pilgrimage, isn't it?
1 second. No, it's not a pilgrimage. It's because they're killing people along the way.
I'm sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about. They kill people along the way?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. Is this something that still happens?
No, kind of. We're kind of living through it right now. Going to the Holy Land. What do you call it?
Israel.
No, that's a whole other thing. Crusades. The Crusades.
Oh, I am unfamiliar, so I guess.
Yeah, I think there's probably a crusade or another going on time, and he's like, whoa, guys, you gotta back off. You're being a little too violent.
I think I have to look into this Crusades because this sounds insane. Maybe it should be a Halloween episode.
Sure, maybe next year.
Okay. Maybe it'll be a Christmas episode. We're running out of ideas. It's the hardest holiday.
It's kind of Christmassy when you think about it.
Okay, coming soon. Either that or we're just going to read you the script for Small One. It's either that or that. We only got 2 options. There's no more ideas, guys.
Put the best ones on. They said that's all that's left.
We literally had all our best ideas on our first Christmas month. We probably did it for 2 months. We did too much. Too hard, too fast.
First season Christmas.
Okay, we're on to the next witch trip.
Continue.
Enough about Christmas. We're talking about Halloween.
Save Christmas talk for Christmas episodes.
Okay, next one. Torsacker witch trials. Probably really mispronouncing this because now we're into Sweden in 1675. And I only know Sweden from IKEAs, and I can't even pronounce those. So this is the largest witch execution in Swedish history. And the Torsacker witch trials take place in 1675 in Torsacker Parish, Sweden. In one day, 71 people, 65 women, and 6 men were beheaded and burned. This event was part of the larger witch hunt frenzy known as Stora Ovasendet, which is an IKEA cabinet now that spread across Sweden. Don't laugh.
You can pick it up on your weekends.
That spread across Sweden following a witch trial in Dalarna in 1668.
I didn't think the British would come out as like the even-minded people in dealing with their witches, with only getting rid of about a dozen of them.
It was pretty big though. It was 2%, which doesn't seem like a big percent, but
not when this one kills 65. I don't think Sweden has that big a population.
It's probably about half at this point. I know, it just gets crazier and crazier, right? In these witch trials. I didn't even order it that way. It just sort of happened on vibes.
In Swedish, witch is hexa again.
Really?
So
that can't be
it's
a
spelled
coincidence.
differently, but it's pronounced the same way. Yeah, it's almost like they share the same root language.
Do they?
Yeah.
Don't be sarcastic with me. Sometimes I need you to be serious.
Okay.
Is it serious? Do they?
Apparently, it can also be rotunga.
What's the root language of German?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you knew.
German a root
having
language?
that you said that.
I thought Germanic was the root language for like most of Eastern Europe.
It is for English.
Or Central Europe, I guess.
I didn't know if it might still have a root.
Yeah.
Okay. Lutheran clergy, including Laurentius, Christophori, Horanius, were tasked with investigating witchcraft, and Hornius...
The horniest of them. Okay.
zealously pursued accusations in Torsacker, with many of the charges stemming from children who claim the accused had abducted children for satanic rituals. It's the satanic panic all over again. Yeah.
Did they take them down a toilet to the sub-basement?
They probably did.
Of the daycare?
People were flying
yeah.
like it was just off the hook. The children were subjected to extreme methods of interrogation, including whipping and near drowning to extract confessions. The trial led to about 100 people being accused, though it's unclear how many were convicted and executed. The execution was brutal. After a final sermon, the prisoners were led to a site called the Mountain of the Stake. Oh no. Where they were decapitated and then burned. Oh no.
If you're gonna do this to somebody, that is the right order, I think.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be burned then decapitated.
No.
Yeah. The families of the victims participated in the grim task of burning the bodies. While the Torsacker trials were among the largest, they were also dubious in their legality. Local authorities bypassed the required confirmation of sentences from the High Court, making the executions unlawful. Despite this, no further executions took place in Torsacker. The witch trials in Sweden continued until 1676, eventually ending when the authorities realized the child witnesses had fabricated their testimonies.
Coming to shock everyone involved.
It's funny because the satanic panic never actually ended that way, the most recent one.
No, it's kind of still going.
It's true. It was never really put to rest. This one did.
No one ever really said, the kids are kind of full of shit.
This one really did. I will celebrate them for that. At least they were like, you know what? That's the end of that. That was fake. In 1975, a memorial stone was erected in Torsacker to honor the victims of this horrific event, and horrific it was. That is a crazy story, which takes us to the witch hunts in Scotland mentioned earlier, especially in the North Berwick witches. Bring us back to 1590, so before all of these, I think. Accused of trying to kill King James what's V1? That's 6?
6, yeah. King James the 6th of Scotland, but King James the 1st of
see,
England.
and you said that in the beginning. See? It's all coming together now. Yeah, thank you for that. The North Berwick trials, which began in 1590, were among the earliest and most significant witch hunts in Scotland, implicating over 70 people and lasted over 2 years. The trials were set off by a sensational case involving the royal family of Denmark and Scotland. King James VI, while en route to marry Anne of Denmark, faced severe storms at sea, which were blamed on witchcraft. Jeez. Danish witches. Can you imagine? I should start blaming everything on witchcraft again. Witchcraft. Causing all these waves.
The reason traffic is so bad.
I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna start blaming things on witches, I think. It's a good scapegoat, right?
I'm gonna take a witchcraft day.
Take a witchcraft. Too much of it.
Yeah, no, it's like the rain is outside. I'm just gonna sit in a piece of iron.
I was just gonna say, is it because you're encountering too much witchcraft on a certain day, or is it because you want to practice witchcraft?
I think I'm gonna take it as I think there's witchcraft directed at me for the day.
You know what? That's progressive. I think that's very progressive of us to be requesting that in the future. Danish witches confessed to using sorcery to summon storms, and this news prompted King James to set up his own tribunal in Scotland, where several people, including women and nobles, were accused of witchcraft.
So they can just freely go ask the witches about it in Denmark, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we did that. He kind of deserved it." And then they don't do anything. They feel so freely able to say that out in the open in Denmark.
Denmark's a fucked up place, from what I know about it.
It's from everywhere else in Europe at the time, apparently.
So free. And you know what? That wind that you experienced, that was me. That was me.
Yeah. I just got a new spell, had to try it out. I didn't kill you, hey? Look at that, you're lucky. You just got delayed.
Many of the accused allegedly held covens in North Berwick, with confessions extracted through brutal torture in Edinburgh. Among the most notable accused were Agnes Sampson, such a Scottish name. An elderly woman who was tortured into confessing her involvement in witchcraft and attending a Sabbath with 200 witches. Oh my God.
We caught 70?
Yeah, there's over...
That was the TED Talk of its day.
That's not even that much compared to the 200.
Yeah, they barely put a dent in their witch population in Scotland.
Yeah, and Dr. John Fian, a schoolmaster who was also tortured and eventually burned at the stake.
It doesn't sound like he confessed to being a witch, though, or they would have said that.
No, didn't look like he did confess to that at all.
Yeah, just a teacher.
Yes, they have a teacher.
Just also a man, which I don't know. They can't be witches, right? Like they're warlocks or wizards, or I think warlocks is technically the proper term.
Well, technically they're all falling into the same thing right now because they're not discriminating about... I haven't heard anything other than witch. They are the minority when it comes to people who were...
That's not true. Yeah. We heard another term. Apparently the male term for a witch is teacher.
Yes. That's true. But I believe it is warlock. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the right term.
Yeah, let's go with pretty sure on the podcast. We're pretty sure about it. G.L.S. Duncan, another accused, named numerous individuals as accomplices, including Agnes Sampson and Dr. Fian. The trials were not only religious but politically charged, as they implicated figures like Francis Stewart, 5th Earl of Bothwell, in a supernatural plot. While many were executed, the trials brought attention to the brutal methods used during witch hunts, including the use of searching for witch marks and other forms of torture. Now, I did want to elaborate a little more on these witch marks, which was physical evidence used in the witch trials of a person being...
Yeah, it was your deal with the devil, right? Like the devil had to leave a mark on you for you to be a witch?
Basically, yes. So a witch's mark was a supposed physical sign on the body that people in time were looking at, believed showed someone was a witch. So yes, it could have been like a pact with the devil, what have you.
And you know what people from the 15 to 1600s are known for. Impeccably beautiful skin. Unblemished.
Yes. Oh, completely. Such good skincare back then. We can't even touch it in this day and age. What we're looking for that would count as a witch's mark would be a mole, a birthmark, a scar, a skin take, an extra nipple. Witch hunters would look for these marks during trials, and if they found one, they might poke it with a needle. If it didn't bleed or it didn't hurt, they took it as evidence of witchcraft. In reality, of course, these were just normal human features, obviously. I mean, we all know that. Could you imagine if you knew that they were looking for something that didn't hurt? Even if it didn't hurt, you'd be like, ow.
Yeah,
like
that's what I assume.
Yeah, you would pretend that it hurt.
You've been tortured while this is going on, so maybe you just can't register the pain.
That's true. That's true.
You've been put through a lot of pain.
Yeah. So basically, it was an ordinary spot on the body that you got from making a pact with the devil, and superstitious people misinterpreted as proof of witchcraft. Back to the story, the trials and their aftermath left a significant cultural legacy. King James VI's writings on witchcraft, including his treatise, I don't know what that means, demonology, maybe he rewrote it, maybe he wrote another chapter, hard to say, were influenced by the trials and spread to other regions, including New England, where similar witch hunts took place. In March 2022, the Scottish government issued a formal apology for the prosecution of witches during the 16th and 17th centuries. The events of the North Berwick witch trial have also been immortalized in literature and popular culture, including Shakespeare's Macbeth, which drew on themes
about that.
from the trials, as well as novels and songs that reflect the tragic history of these early witch trial hunts.
And I wonder if it was almost like a racist trope against the Scottish at the time, that it was full of witchcraft.
Yeah, it could have, yes.
Because us, personally, it's full of druids.
Yes, of course. The McDucks.
Yeah.
We all know that by this point. Okay, last but not least, we got the Icelandic witch trials, which were unusual because it's Iceland. And second, because most of the accused were men, and we were just kind of talking about that, but they're still called the witch trials. So they're Do you have it? Probably not. The witch trials in Iceland were influenced by Danish authorities during the 17th century when Iceland was under Danish rule. These trials were introduced as part of the efforts to enforce religious conformity following the Reformation. Unlike much of Europe, where witchcraft was associated with Satan and often resulted in the persecution of women, Iceland's view on magic was shaped by older Norse traditions that distinguished between black, which was evil, and white, which was good magic. Initially, Icelanders didn't see the magic as inherently linked to the devil. The first sign of witchcraft persecution came in 1564. This is a good length of time before what we've been talking about. After a decree ordered the reporting of all heresy. Early trials did not view witchcraft through the lens of Christian demonology, but were focused on the harmfulness of black magic. For example, in 1554, a priest was exiled for using black magic to try and seduce a girl. Jeez.
That's pretty tame compared to some of the other magic that we've heard about, like inconveniencing a king's ship.
With the waves. However, and that guy was like, yeah, I did that.
Punished. Yeah, that one wasn't punished in any way.
I'm a good witch. I make shit happen. However, by the 17th century, Danish clergy brought with them Christian ideas of witchcraft, particularly the notion of witches making pacts with the devil. Jesus, they just loved that. They loved the pacts with the devil. This shift in belief was formalized by the introduction of the Danish Witchcraft Act in Iceland in 1630. Over the next few decades, witch trials escalated, peaking between 1667 and 1685. What set Iceland apart from other European witch trials was the fact that most of those accused were men. Out of 22 executions, 20 were men. Wow. On the last one, we saw only like a few percent were men.
And Chelsea, I just want to frame this because I looked it up while you're doing this part. The population of Iceland in the 1700s peaked at 50,000.
Wow.
And in about 1769, it was 46,000. So 20 people is a significant amount of people.
That is. Wow. That's crazy. This male dominance in the trials was linked to Icelandic traditions where magic had been primarily practiced by men, particularly those skilled in learning, which was associated with literacy and higher education. I'm curious, you did a paranormal tour in Iceland, right? I don't know if it was...
They didn't really talk about the witchcraft.
I was going to ask.
They talked about elves, and they talked about a murder-suicide that happened like 100 years ago, but they didn't really talk about the witch trials. Yeah.
The last witchcraft execution in Iceland occurred in 1683, and the practice ended by 1686 when Denmark passed a law requiring death sentences for witchcraft to be approved by the High Court in Copenhagen. Following this, Copenhagen refused to confirm any more executions for witchcraft, marking the end of the trials in Iceland. The last condemned witch, Clemens Bjørnsen, that's what I'm going with, was transferred to Copenhagen in 1692, but he was never executed. And that is the witch trials.
It surprised me a lot how many males were taken up in this, as well as, at least in some of them, rich people, like well-off people. Usually they get off scot-free with most things. It was
only that one. Well, no, the king got involved in one of them. He encountered some waves.
Yeah, he might have accidentally done the magic, but I don't think he was doing the magic.
No, I don't think he was doing the magic. You got to think somewhere along the line, though, one of the kings was doing some magic, right?
Well, he wrote a whole book on the Dane.
Yeah, at least one had to have done some magic.
Wait, is he the King James that redid the Bible?
The first one? There has to be like so many King Jameses, though.
Yeah, but you think they would reference which King James it was if it wasn't the first one?
Well, you would think, but this is my episode.
I'm just thinking. I never put this together until just now. That this one who's obsessed with daemons and hunting down witches is also the one who may have created the Bible that we use today.
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, almost like it's a weird, blasphemous book in that version.
That would be an interesting twist. One that we didn't expect. You know what? While you're pondering that, I do have to tell you that the last person executed for witchcraft in Europe, at least, was Anna Gioldi in 1782.
Do you know where?
Nope.
Europe. Gotcha.
Yeah, Europe.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. It's not
You
that
said Europe, 'cause I'm
geographical.
pretty sure that people still get executed in Africa for witchcraft.
Yeah. It's not geographically
Yeah.
that big of a place, so you get the general idea of it. And this was very Europe-centric, by the way.
It was, yeah, because I think there were at least one more witch trial you could have done in North America, but it was very European. I like that.
Yeah.
Because then you can shift from there and do different areas.
Yeah, we can't put all our eggs in one basket for the holiday episodes, as we've learned with Christmas.
Don't explore everything too early.
Yeah, so that's witch trials. That's Halloween episode number 1. I hope it got you into the spirit of practicing witchcraft.
Yeah, and you're legally allowed to in Canada. They got rid of that law.
It's true.
So yeah.
You can't be hung for trials.
Well, not only.
How does it go again?
I don't think it's illegal to pretend to practice witchcraft anymore. I'm pretty sure they got rid of Section 3.5 of the Canadian Criminal Code.
That was in there?
Yeah, pretending to practice witchcraft. My favorite law. I think it's gone. Anyhow.
Okay.
About me, I have been Taylor, here with Chelsea. We are Journey to the Fringe. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Journey to the Fringe. If you have liked what you have listened to, please like, share, subscribe, or follow, depending on what venue you are listening to us through. Also, please, if possible, leave a 5-star review, as that really helps us in the algorithms. Should you wish to interact with us, please check us out on your social media of choice. I bet you we are there. And if you really want to communicate with us and give us ideas for new episodes, or tell us that we're wrong and terrible, either way, please send us an email at journeytothefringe@gmail.com. For now, I'll see you in the next episode.